Today's inspirational message is to encourage everyone out there who is currently going through difficult situations. Do not focus on the circumstances that surround you, but rather focus on the one who surrounds your circumstances. If you're a Christian believer and you're watching this video, I would like to encourage you and like to say to you that God is the one that surrounds your circumstances. God is the one who knows about your situation and is able to bring a transformation to that situation. There is one person that is such an inspiration in the Bible. The person in the Bible for today is Daniel. So, the book of Daniel 6, if you read that particular part of the Bible, you will get to understand that Daniel exhibited an unwavering faith. Daniel is one person that we can learn from. Daniel's focus was straight on to God. Daniel refused to focus on his current circumstances. Daniel refused to focus on the naysayers, like the people, the king's men. They were plotting against Daniel because Daniel had something special and they were envious of him for sure. But what Daniel did was focusing on the one who is greater than his circumstances. So today's inspirational message is to encourage anyone out there. If you are not a believer yet, but you're watching this video, I want you to know that when you turn to God, there is always a miracle in the end. There is something that I would like for us to note about Daniel. So, Daniel 6, verse 3, if you read that particular part of the Bible, you'll see that the Bible recorded that Daniel was preferred by the king. Daniel was the king's choice. Daniel was chosen by the king because Daniel had an exceptional spirit. Daniel was a man that loved God, served God, was faithful. God actually gifted Daniel. Daniel has a gift to interpret dreams. And in everything that Daniel was doing in the kingdom at the time, the Bible recorded that Daniel was exceptional. So if you read further to verse 4, 5, the presidents, the princes of the land, the other princes and the presidents of the land, the king's men that were chosen alongside Daniel to rule over the kingdom became envious of Daniel. Because why? When the king actually chose all of the other men, including Daniel, because of Daniel's exceptional spirit and gifts, the king actually decided to make Daniel the head over every one of them. The king chose Daniel. So this was when Daniel's problem started. Sometimes people are not aware that they are envious of you. People are not aware that they are jealous of you. It could just be how you present yourself. It could be how you carry yourself. It could be the talents that God has given you and how you show forth every time that you handle stuff. People can find different reasons just to be envious of you. In this case, the people of the land, the princes and the presidents that were chosen to rule alongside Daniel became envious. And this is where I want us to dwell a little bit, because I want us as believers, as Christians, if you're watching this video, I want you to understand that in the kingdom, as children of God, we all have different talents, different gifts that God has deposited inside of us that we need to manifest in order to support the kingdom ministry. As long as you discover your own calling and purpose, there is no need for envy or jealousy amongst brethren. So let's move forward with the story of Daniel. If you read Daniel 6, verse 25 to 27, you would see that the king himself went back the next morning to check upon Daniel to see if Daniel was still alive or if the lions had consumed or killed Daniel. So surprisingly, Daniel said to the king that, "Oh, my king, I am still alive. My God that I serve, the God that I serve, actually sent his angel to shut the mouth of the lions and, to shut the mouths of the lions." the king was really amazed at the power of God at work. One thing that I would like us to see is that regardless of the situation that we face, we should never back out on our journey with God. We should never back out. We should never give up on our faith, because during trying season, our faith level can actually be an inspiration to unbelievers. The Bible recorded that the king actually then made a rule to the whole kingdom to say that the God of Daniel is a God that delivers, he's a God that rescues, he's a God of signs and wonders. So for us today, we have to really see that having faith, standing your ground, sticking to the God that you serve, even in terrible situations, is a way to show forth that God is a come through God. Daniel accepted his faith, meaning that yes, I am currently in this particular situation. But, however, I am going to stand with the Lord. I am going to stand in the Lord. Because Daniel just had a confidence that he doesn't have no other source. God was Daniel's straight and first source. So depending on the Lord and just trusting in God and knowing that God is your everything will bring you much miracle. Let's look further to other things that I got from the book of Daniel. Daniel was one person who I believe had such a beautiful relationship with God. He knew the God that he was serving. He had faith in God and he believed that even till the point of him being sent or thrown into the lion's den, that he was going to be saved by God. Many of us, we tend to withdraw from God's presence when we face terrible situations in our life. But the truth is, in the days of your terrible circumstances and the days where you do not understand what is really happening, those are the days that you should dwell and abide in God's presence. Another thing we can gain from the book of Daniel 6 is to understand that God will never leave you. Even in your terrible circumstances and situations, God is always there. He is aware. Many times as a Christian, even I myself, I've been in a situation where I just got blacked out because like, wow, why, what? So many questions. And it is very easy to focus on the problem rather than focus on God, who is able to transform that situation. And this is where the enemy comes in. The enemy's plan is to always bring you situations, sickness, hardship, temptation, circumstances that will pull you away from your faith. Another thing that we must learn from the book of Daniel is that Daniel was at peace with himself because he knew who God was. Daniel decided to focus on God, and that brought Daniel great peace. Even when Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, the Bible recorded that Daniel continued to pray. But Daniel was an example to say that even in the midst of the fire, I will praise you, Lord. I will pray. I will seek you. Because at the end of the day, God is the one that is going to turn the table around. It came to a point that Daniel needed to be rescued, and God did not leave him. God was with him even in the lion's den. And as a result of this beautiful act of Daniel exhibiting his faith, his unwavering faith, the king himself was able to be inspired and he got to believe in Daniel's God. Sometimes situations are it brings an opportunity for us to minister to unbelievers around us. Another thing to pick from Daniel is that God is our ultimate covering. God is our ultimate protector. God protected Daniel in the lion's den. God came through for Daniel and proved the people and the king that he is the God that can save. He is a protector. And another thing that we should learn from the book of Daniel is that whenever we are faced with challenges, The unbelievers around us, the people around us, they are always watching. The king knew that there was something special about Daniel and his God. But of course, because he's a king and he has made certain rules, he allowed his people to persecute Daniel. But when the king went to check upon Daniel, the king said something that was special. He said, I knew that your God will protect you, Daniel. So that actually inspired the king to believe in the God of Daniel. There was something else that was very significant and special with Daniel is the fact that when King Darius went to the lion's den to check up on Daniel to see if Daniel was still alive, for some reason the king had faith in Daniel's God indirectly. But it wasn't until the king went to check upon Daniel and saw that Daniel was found still praying. Oh my God. Surrounded by lions, but Daniel was found still praying. The king was able to acknowledge publicly that there was something about Daniel's God, and the king praised Daniel's God. So for us today, what is your own lion? What are your lions? Because anything can represent a lion in your life. And of course, when you approach face to face with a lion, not one, not two lions, definitely you should be very much afraid. But because Daniel had a personal relationship with God, because Daniel trusted in the God that he served, Daniel knew that his God was a come through God. So today, my question to you is, how do you show forth in the times of difficulties? How do you allow your faith to inspire other people who are even unbelievers around you? Unbelievers around you can actually learn to trust in God more. Do not focus on your circumstances, those circumstances that surround you, but rather focus on the God who is greater than your circumstances. God bless you guys now. I'll see you guys next time. Do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to follow me at Brunch with the Word. God bless you guys once again. Bye now.